Hey, hello everyone. A very warm welcome back to my channel, Avan Onjo. And this is Avan Onjo this side. All of you who are new to this channel, a very warm welcome to you all. So, in this channel, you can see free UPSC preparation videos. Okay, so we have already started a course long ago where I'm giving video lectures on various topics of general sciences, general studies of UPSC, and this is completely free for all of you, for all the people who don't want to go to coaching or cannot afford the coaching. In both the cases or in any case, if you want to understand topics clearer, this channel is for you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, just go and smash that subscribe button right now, because that gives us motivation, that gives us this power and this willingness to make more videos and to make even better videos every day. So all of your constructive criticism is also welcomed, but please make sure it is constructive in nature, no hate in the comment box. So comment box is always open. If you want to know something more, if you have any doubt, I would be very happy to help you all. Okay, so today's video is going to be a special video because I am not going to start with any new topic of GS, but this is a part of GS that we are going to start, that is different kinds of bills. This is a separate video that I tried to create because I felt that this needs a special mention and a special video differently, so that it does not mix with any of the videos, and you can have separately this video fully dedicated to all the bills that are there. Okay, because there are many different bills and people are very much confused about what kind of bill makes, what does it mean and all. And also a very important thing, that is about budget, which is what we are going to discuss, because many of us are not even clear about budget. It is something related to economics, and the people who are not having that background usually suffer with this part, that is economics, budget and all. Okay, so I'm going to take a small part of budget, also not a small but a comprehensive, like what you should know, everything would be discussed here, nothing would be left out, don't worry. Okay, in the name of short, I'm not going to leave anything. So you can see different topics. Okay, so these are the 4 different topics that we are going to discuss. There are 3 different kinds of bill, and one is for the budget. So I've dedicated different slides for different topics. Okay, so once again, please guys, before starting, just go and subscribe to this channel. And this is Avan. Just go right now and subscribe to this channel to understand more and to motivate us to keep going. So without any further delay, let's begin. Okay, okay, so now I'm going to discuss about money bill. That is going to be our first topic. So various kinds of bills that are there. We have money bill, we have financial bill, we have constitutional amendment bill. These are the 3 different kinds of bills that we have to discuss upon, and the first one that I'm going to discuss is going to be the money bill. Also, I've tried to clear my voice a bit. I've changed the devices, so if it was clear to you, and if you want me to continue with this particular device only, then please give a thumbs up in the comment box below, like the video. Okay, so money bill. Okay, so that is the first kind of bill. First of all, you should know that it is defined under Article 110 of the Indian Constitution. Okay, so there are various kinds of funds that I want to discuss. There are funds of India, and these funds needs to be known before discussing about money bill. Okay, so what are the funds in India? There are 3 different kinds of funds in India. Okay, so the first one that we have is Consolidated Fund of India. Okay, Consolidated Fund. So if you are new, so guys, I usually write with a mouse. Okay, currently I'm not able to get a writing pen, so I use a mouse, and I usually just write the keywords, so that it is more of auditory in nature. So I would recommend to you to write what I'm speaking. Okay, whatever you feel to be written down, and that is important, and I'll write the important keywords to make you understand everything. Okay, so first one is the Consolidated Fund, second is the Contingency Fund, CONTIGENCY. contingency fund, and third one is the public accounts. Okay, so we are going to have a discussion on all three of them so that we could understand what all of them mean separately. Okay, so consolidated fund, basically it finds the mention in article number 226. Okay, note it down, 226 and clause 1. Okay, 226 clause 1 is the article that it finds mention in. Contingency fund finds mention in 267 clause 1, as well as it finds mention in 267 clause 2. I'm writing 2 here, you have to write with it. Okay, I didn't have the place. So now we have public accounts. Okay, so public accounts, they find mention basically in article number 266. Okay, 266, more specifically clause 2, 266 clause 2. So this is what different kinds of funds are. Okay, now let us have a discussion on what do they mean. Okay, so first of all, let me change the color. Yeah, so consolidated fund. So consolidated fund is basically it is like a revenue. It is like all of the revenue that is received by the government of India in the form of net proceeds of taxes. Okay, so it is basically we get it in the form of taxes, net proceed of taxes. Okay, then what else? We get it in the form of taxes or the loans raised. Okay, so loans raised by the loans raised by the taxes. Okay, and it can also be through the means of certain advances. Okay, so advances. Okay, so advances or any kind of earning that are to be credited, it together constitute the consolidated fund of India. Okay, so like if all the expenditures of the government has to be met through this consolidated fund. Okay, and but the withdrawal, okay, like the withdrawal would be only done by the approval of parliament. So parliament plays a very important role in this, because there needs to be a approval of the parliament to withdraw it. Okay, so there needs to be a parliamentary approval. Okay, so why is this power given to parliament? In order to exercise a control over the executive. Okay, so that executive doesn't misuse in any way the consolidated fund or funds of people of India. Okay, so this is what is meant by consolidated fund. Again, revising it: taxes, loans, advances, okay, and things like that, they all get collected under the consolidated fund of India, and executive uses this consolidated fund for various withdrawals, but the withdrawal can only be done by the approval of the parliament. Why is this provision? This provision is there because in order to exercise some control over the powers of executive, parliament do this. Okay, so to exercise the control over executive. Okay, I hope this much is clear. Now let us move forward to the Contingency Fund of India. So I would like to change the color again so that you can just make a distinction. Okay, so Contingency Fund. How is Contingency Fund different from Consolidated Fund? Okay, so this is basically a kind of a fund that is created by the government of India to meet the unforeseen, like unpredictable, unforeseen expenditures. Okay, so if there is any kind of crisis, okay, like if you take an example of a sudden like this sudden spread of COVID. Okay, so this was unforeseen in nature. Okay, like we haven't planned a budget that should be used for the expenditures during the period of the pandemic. We didn't have any kind of idea like that. So in that case, this is a kind of a fund that is created by government of India, and it is basically for all the unpredictable or unforeseen expenditures. Okay, so how can this be redeemed? Okay, so this can be withdrawal, or this can be done by the power is in the hand of president. So in a way you can say that it is under executive control only. Okay, the power is with the president. Okay, so president of India can give an advance from the contingency fund. Okay, so an advance could be used from this. Okay, of course we are not going to use the entire fund for funding all the things during the pandemic of COVID as an example. Okay, so we can only take an advance amount for meeting our very much current requirement, and then for the other part we'll have to do it through consolidated, or so in that case advance could be given, a bit of advance if urgently needed could be given by the President of India. Okay, and there but there is a thing, there is a concept of balance. I'm just writing it here, I'll remove it later. So there is a concept of balance, sorry. So a balance needs to be maintained in this case. Okay, because this is not a consolidated fund, but this is a kind of advance. If you take advance from any person, okay, if you take advance from someone, so you have to return it, right? You have to create a balance. Okay, so if I've taken a amount of money from my friend, so I have to give that money back. Okay, because it was needed urgently. But then when I have the money, then I have to give that money to her back. Okay, so in that case what would happen, that there is a creation of balance. Okay, so balance needs to be created. If I've taken the advance, then I have to return it again to the contingency fund. Okay, so this is how this particular things work. Okay, now let us move forward to the public accounts. I'll change ink color once again so that I could have a different okay, so public accounts under article 266 clause 2. So what is public account? Okay, it is basically like a banker you can say, or a trustee. Okay, just look it like that. Government of India put money in this particular account. Okay, which is with the government, but it is not with the government. What does this mean? That there is no parliamentary approval required for the public accounts, okay, or for the withdrawal of money from the public account. Okay, and it is basically, it is it is received by the government, it is with the government. Okay, but it is not of the government. Okay, so it is with the government but not of the government. So earnest money, security deposits, which are like I'll write it here, security deposits as an example, security deposits. If you don't understand, then I'm just constantly whatever I'm writing, I'm also speaking it, so you can write it. Okay, so security deposits are there, or we can say some earnest money. Okay, so all of this can be there. So it can be directly going into the public accounts, and it is with the government, and there is no need, okay, like for the parliamentary approval is not needed. You can create a cross like this. Okay, so parliamentary approval is not needed. So these were all the different kinds of funds. So if these funds are clear, then only we'll move forward to the money bill, because this was something that everyone should know to create a kind of a basic foundation for the rising of the money bill building. Okay, so now let us understand what is money bill. If this was clear, a very very colorful one, I like it, a colorful representation it has become. So now let me just remove it, and let me just let us start the discussion on the money bill. Okay, what is money bill basically? So the expenditures which are charged upon the consolidated fund, okay, they are not a subject to scrutiny, discussion and voting by the parliament. Okay, so money bill is a kind of a bill, as I told you, that onto the consolidated fund, okay, there should be a approval of parliament. Okay, now, expenditures that are charged upon the consolidated fund are not the subject to scrutiny, discussion, and voting by the parliament. What does this mean? Let me explain you. So there are certain provisions. Okay, so a bill can be declared to be a money bill, and this particular declaration process can only be done by the speaker of Lok Sabha. Okay, so that is something that you need to write, and it is the decision of the speaker of Lok Sabha only in order to make or declare a particular bill as money bill. Okay, and all of these bills, they don't require some kind of parliamentary discussions and all. Okay, so a bill can be considered or declared as a money bill only on the order of the Lok Sabha speaker, and there should be certain provisions under which it can be considered as a money bill. So the subjects that are listed in an article, that is article number 110. Okay, it discusses about all the provisions that are used for declaring any bill as money bill. Okay, so there are 6 subjects that are listed there. Okay, something it broadly relates with like taxation. Okay, so write down taxation. Okay, and financial obligations. I'm just writing in the short form right now. Okay, then we have custody of consolidated fund. Custody of consolidated fund. Okay, and then we have like the borrowings by government of India. Borrowings by the government of India. Okay, then like appropriation of money. Appropriation of money. Okay, then we can also have like expenditures that are to be charged on the consolidated fund. Okay, then we can also say that an audit of account, AUDIT, audit of account. Okay, so all of this can be considered as money bill. Okay, so I think, yeah, these are the ones. Okay, which can be there. So I think that this thing is very clear to you, that the speaker of Lok Sabha is going to declare, Lok Sabha speaker is going to declare that if a bill is money bill or not. Okay, so accordingly the procedures for the processes would go on. Okay, so this was there. Okay, now let us move forward to the next bill, if this is clear. Now let us understand what is a financial bill. Now we'll have a discussion on financial bill. So financial bill is the, it is a bill, okay, which would have been made the money bill, but in addition to this, like in addition to the provisions that are there in the money bill, there are certain additional provisions are there, so we cannot fully consider it to be a money bill. Okay, so there are provisions of the money bill, but there are certain additional provisions. That's why we cannot keep it into the category of money bill. Instead, we put it into another category that is known as financial bill. So this is what a financial bill is. Okay, so if I okay, so because of that particular thing, this particular bill is not going to be certified as a money bill, because it is going to have certain addition apart from the provisions of the money bill. Okay, now there are 2 kinds of categories of money bill, very important. Actually everything is important. There is category number 1, and then we have a category number 2. Sorry. So we have a category, we have 2 different kinds of categories. Okay, so we have a category number 1 and category number 2 of financial bill. So when we talk about the category 1, so it relates with the taxation. So basically taxation in any form is involved here. Taxation is there, plus other provisions could be there, okay, as well. There, those other provisions are going to be the one because of which it cannot be termed as a money bill, because if you see in the money bill we have added taxation there. Okay, so taxation is a subject of money bill, but there are certain additional provisions apart from taxation, and hence it cannot be added into the money bill, so we have put it into the category of financial bit, but broadly it deals with taxation plus some other provisions. Now if I look at financial bill category number 2. So this bill basically relates with expenditure, broadly relates with expenditure, which is again a subject of a money bill. But what I told you, that there should be certain other provisions. So expenditure plus other provisions, okay, because of which this particularly the speaker was not able to put under the category of money bill. Okay, so if you see here, expenditures is also there, but still there are certain other provisions in this, so we cannot have put it under the category of money bill, and we have to put it under the category of financial bill category 2. Okay, so I hope that category 1 and category 2 of financial bill would be very clear to you, because I've used some, like I've explained to you in the most simple sense possible. If you are going to read barely, if you are going to go to the articles and read them, so it would be like very difficult for you to understand. Okay, so you need certain explanatory videos for that, and this is what we are going to do through these videos to make your concepts clearer. Okay, self study is very powerful, needed, but you need to understand the basic concept. Okay, so I hope that our videos are going to be helping you all, and this is completely free. Just go right now and subscribe, please guys, it gives us motivation. Okay, only thing you have to do, please. So expenditure plus other provisions, I hope that both of the terms are clear to you, money bill and financial bill. Now the third kind of bill that we have is known as constitutional amendment bill. Now let us understand what this is. Okay, so constitutional amendment bill is basically a kind of a bill, okay, which proposes the addition of a new clause, okay, or repeating any clause of the constitution, or the minor changes or amendment in any existing clause of the constitution. Okay, so if there is a kind of a proposal which needs this constitutional amendment, okay, in some minor form, or there should be certain addition or something, okay, so in that case a constitutional amendment bill is presented. Okay, so so this is like a bill that requires a constitutional amendment is what is known as constitutional amendment bill. Okay, so this is what it is. Now there should be a bit of understanding to you about the procedures through which the bills are passed. Okay, so constitutional amendment bill is nothing more, so I'll just move directly to the procedures. Okay, so you have to have certain procedures for different bills. We have different procedures. Okay, of course a constitutional amendment is going to be much more difficult to pass, because this is something that requires a very special majority. Okay, so we need to have that, and money bill are like the ordinary bill, and we could be able to pass it with a simple majority also. Okay, so let me see. So financial bill, if I talk about the financial bill category 2, what is the financial bill category 2? Try to recall. So it was expenditure plus certain other provisions. Okay, so financial bill category 2, after the introduction in the parliament of the house, cannot take a, the house cannot take up the bill for consideration and discussion unless the parliament has recommended house for consideration of bill. Okay, so there should be a recommendation from the parliament. Okay, so you can of course need approval. So it cannot be discussed unless and until the approval has been given. Okay. Now money bill and financial bill, this one for the financial bill category 2. Now we have money bill plus financial bill category 1. What was financial bill category 1? Taxation plus other provisions. So this was the first case, right? This was the first case. This is the second case. Now in the second case, it can be introduced in Lok Sabha only, okay, and it cannot be introduced into Rajya Sabha. Only in Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha you can put a cross like this. Okay, so it can only be introduced in where? Lok Sabha. Okay, now all of the other bills apart from money bill and financial bill category 1, all the other remaining bills can be introduced in either house of the parliament. Okay, either Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. Okay, Now let us understand what is the role or the say of the house in different kinds of bills. Okay, so in the case of money bill, it is going to be introduced in Lok Sabha and never in Rajya Sabha. I already told you. So there is a bigger say of Lok Sabha, and Rajya Sabha is not it. There is not even a bit of say. Okay, it can only play an advisory role if it want to play. Otherwise, there is no need. Okay, so let me explain this to you through a kind of a ray diagram kind of situation. Oh, sorry, I've again selected the same color. So let us say that we have a money bill. Okay. Now this money bill is only going to be introduced where? It is going to be introduced into the Lok Sabha. Okay. Now say that this bill has been passed in the Lok Sabha. Now what would happen? Now it will go to Rajya Sabha, but I said that Rajya Sabha is not going to have any specific role. It can only give advice. Okay. So Rajya Sabha is actually have to pass the bill. Okay, it has to pass the bill. But in the case of an advice, say if Rajya Sabha is giving an advice, that means it is not passing this bill, right? So in that case it could only just give suggestions, and like it could just give the suggestions, right? So for that you can say that only like a bit of delay could be there. Okay, like around only 14 days, not more than that. Okay, and if it hasn't taken up the bill for discussion, then even Rajya Sabha is not needed. Okay, if it is passed in the Lok Sabha, then it would be deemed to be passed. Okay, so Rajya Sabha is not even having a role. Just for the formality you can send the bill to the Rajya Sabha. Okay, otherwise Rajya Sabha is not having any kind of role in this. It cannot reject or amend the money bill in any way. Okay, so if there is a case of like giving suggestions or something, then it can be given to Lok Sabha, and it is actually overall passed in the Lok Sabha, so there is not going to be any difficulty. And Rajya Sabhas, it is not needed again to go into the Rajya Sabha or things like that. If it is passed in the Lok Sabha, then it is going to be deemed to be passed in money bill deemed to be passed in Lok Sabha. And there is not even the case, okay, like it is already known to Rajya Sabha also that why would it send back the bill for reconsideration, because Rajya Sabha already knows that it cannot do anything in this, and the power is completely in the hands of Lok Sabha. So this is how a money bill can be. This was basically a ray diagram to express that which house is having which role in passing the money bill. Okay, so if I talk about the constitutional amendment bill, role of different houses, constitutional amendment bill's role. So it must be passed by the two houses. As I already told you that this is a very major kind of a thing to amend the constitution, so there needs to be a special majority. Okay, so it needs both the houses, that means Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha, both of them are having major roles. Okay, none of them is having a lesser role. So both of the houses needs to be passing this bill. It needs to be passed in both the houses. Okay, separately, not together. There cannot be a kind of a joint sitting between both of them, and both houses needs to pass this bill, constitutional amendment bill, separately. Okay, with a special majority. Okay, that is 2/3 and 2/3 of the total house, total strength. Absolute plus a special majority is needed. Okay, so if, say for example, if it is passed only in this and not in this, then the bill cannot be deemed to be passed. Okay, it needs to be passed in both houses, then only it is going to be deemed as pass. Otherwise, if this is the situation, okay, if it has not been passed in this house, okay, if it has not been passed in this house, then what would happen is that it will deem to be an end to the bill, and bill would be rejected. Okay, so I hope that constitutional amendment bill is clear. I'm also thinking to create a video, special video like this, only a very small video like of 10 minutes about different kinds of majorities, so it becomes very clear. So I'll do that too, so that you would have an understanding about what kind of majorities are there and what kind of basic subjects required, what different kinds of majorities to be there in the houses. Okay, so if this is clear, then we'll move forward to our last topic for today, that is going to be budget. Last but a very important topic. So budget, which we also call as annual financial statement. Okay, so if somebody is saying to you annual financial statement, so it would directly mean budget. Okay, a very popular term, everyone would have listened it, but many of us have not known it into the true sense that what it is actually. Okay, so under article 112, under article number 112 of the Constitution of India, President shall cause in respect of every financial year a budget to be led before both the houses of the parliament. So who is going to cause? President. So president is having a role in this. President needs to cause the initiation or cause in respect to every financial year. Okay, so you should know that financial year in India is from 1st April to 31st of March. You should know this. Okay, annual year began from 1st of April to 31st of March. Okay, so in this financial year there are budget. Okay, so annual financial statement of the government of India is known as budget. Okay, what is budget? It is basically the estimated receipts. It is the estimated receipts and expenditures or receipts, okay, of in a financial year. This is the financial year. Okay, I don't know why my mouse is just lagging. Okay, so there are different kinds of, like there is a bill. Okay, I would like to discuss under the budget, that is known as appropriation bill. Okay, so you should write this: appropriation bill. Appropriation bill. There is some issue with my mouse, I don't know. Appropriation bill. Okay, so this is a kind of a bill under article number 114 of the Indian Constitution, okay, which needs approval of the parliament for the specific purpose. Okay, now what does this mean? Okay, so let me just explain you. Appropriation bill, like what happens is, like there are many of the ministries, right? So all of the ministries are going to demand for the grants from the government. Okay, then ministries and departments, all of them would be giving their estimations about what could be the amount of grants they would need. Okay, now every ministry is asked, every department, and they are going to ask the wings and all. Okay, so hierarchy goes, but after finally what happens is that all the ministries are going to give their estimated grants, what kind of grants, how much grant would be needed by them. Okay, now all of this put together, it is formed into a single bill. Okay, and there is a special mention, a separate mention of expenditures that needs to be charged upon. Where do we get the expenditure from? We'll get it from the Consolidated Fund. Okay, Consolidated Fund. There is going to be a discussion, right? If we have to detach it, or we need to withdraw it from the Consolidated Fund, and I told you that it needs a parliamentary discussion. Okay, so first of all there would be a creation of a bill, and that bill is going to have all the grants that are needed by the different ministries, and where it would be withdrawn from the Consolidated Fund. But before withdrawal, that particular bill, that is known as appropriation bill, needs to be presented before the parliament. Okay, it needs to be presented before the parliament. Okay, now this is what is basically done in the appropriation bill. Okay, so this is basically for a specific purpose. Okay, so I hope that this was clear. Now there is a process through which a budget is passed, a complete process. Okay, so I'll make it in the form of points. Okay, what is the first step? Okay, I'll make it in the form of steps. So first step, how could we pass the budget? So first step is going to be of presentation. So first of all, there needs to be a presentation of the budget. Budget session, it starts in the last week of Jan. You should write this, last week of January it starts. Okay, last week of January it starts. Okay, and in second week of April. Okay, then and in between, like from last week of Jan and the second week of April, there is going to be a midterm break also. Okay, so this is the presentation period. Now we have second step. What is the second step? There would be general discussions. Okay, now there are going to be general discussions. Now there would be a scrutiny by the parliament. Okay, after the general discussions, there is going to be a scrutiny by parliament. Okay, then there is a parliamentary standing committee. Okay, now it would also be made into use in this particular stage. Then after the scrutiny, there is going to be voting. There is going to be voting, of course. Okay, now what voting would be in the demand of grants by the House of People, that is known as Legislative Assembly. Okay, then after that, this appropriation bill is going to be passed. Okay, or if it is the case of a finance bill, so what would happen in that case? If it is a case of a finance bill, so finance bill, it includes the proposal related with the change of law to ensure the implementation and enforcement of budget proposals. Okay, so mostly in the financial bill, it would be passed, and it might include the proposals relating to the change of law to ensure the implementation and enforcement. Okay, now this is what is about the budget. Okay, this is what it is overall. Now there is a concept, a very very important concept about the interim budget. What it is? Interim budget. Let me write it here. Interim budget. Okay, so this is basically a kind of a temporary budget in layman's term. So it is a what is budget? Budget is basically a financial commitment of the government, okay, for the forthcoming financial year. Now, if for some reason, if the government is not in a position to take up the financial commitments for the entire forthcoming financial year, okay, then the government has the option to take up the financial commitment for a basic particular part in the forthcoming year. Or if say there would be new elections, okay, and the term is going to expire, and there is only some part of the financial year that is going to be under the government, so in that case, instead of making the budget for the entire year, entire financial year. Like if let's say we have a financial year like this, okay, and there are going to be elections, okay, like in this point there are going to be new elections, okay, Lok Sabha elections, say, okay, then only this part there is going to be the old government, and it might get, we might get a new government after this part. So this is the one financial year. So now what would happen is that instead of giving the budget, like old government, instead of giving the budget for this entire year, it is just going to give the budget for a part, so that the new government don't have to follow the same budget, okay. So a new government can again, then it would, now this part would not be called as the proper budget, but it is going to be called as the interim budget, okay. Then new government would come and introduce the proper budget for the financial year, okay. So this is what is meant by the interim budget. Normally during the election years we see the interim budget, okay. So I hope that this much is clear to you all. And also in a financial year there are like 4 quarters, okay. In a financial year it is divided into 4 quarters: 1, 2, 3 and 4 quarters are there, okay. And it is from, first quarter is from 1st April to 30th June, then this is from 31st June to 30th September, then it is from 31st September to 31st December, and then we have from 1st of January to 34th of March, 31st of March. So this is going to be the division of a financial year, okay. So this is what is interim budget all about. I hope you understood it well, because you should. And if you didn't, it is very important actually that you should understand this. And if you didn't, then you can of course go back to the video anytime. You can watch the part you didn't understood, and if still you are having any kind of queries, then comment box is open. I would love to answer it, and you can of course ask that to me anytime, okay. Comment box is always open, and I will try my best to reply to it all. So thank you so much guys, this is it for this video. I didn't thought that it would be a long video, but this was meant to be a separate video, in order to not confuse you, because if I would have included it under some broader topic of, like, if I was talking about executive council of minister, and then I in between introduced this particular topic, then it would have been difficult for you to locate out if you want to just study or know about the bills or funds, everything, okay. So we have discussed about funds, we have discussed about bills, we have discussed about the budget or annual financial statement. So this is it for this video. If you liked it, just leave a like, share it with your friends who need it, and please go right now, just click the subscribe button right now and show us your motivation and show us that you need more of the videos. And please guys, do watch the video on the zoology announcement, okay. So I've already announced that free zoology optional for UPSC preparation for biology students exclusively. I'm going to have classes upon it. I'm going to start it very soon, and most probably in 4 or 5 months I would be able to cover the whole syllabus, okay. So I will create videos starting from today itself, most probably, or otherwise very soon, okay. And please stay tuned for that as well. So till then, bye bye, take care, and have a very nice day, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye.